Today, we'll continue our journey through the world of leadership, unveiling the layers of leadership, the three layers of leadership, I call them good, great, and exceptional. This is part two. Welcome to the 30. Thanks for joining us. Stick around. We'll be right back as we unpack the three layers of leadership. Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to the 30. This is where we give you the information, relevant information, our viewers and listeners, to help you enhance your personal, professional, and spiritual lives. I'm your host, Patrick. This is episode 168, and thanks for being here. Remember to like and share this broadcast. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can do me a huge favor. Subscribe to our channel at the Jackman Group LLC. I also invite you to drop me a comment. Go ahead and drop me a comment in the chat if you have a question or comment. Make sure you put that in the chat. Love to hear from you as we continue our conversation on the layers of leadership, what I call the three layers of leadership: good, great, and exceptional. This is part two. Last week, if you were with us, we talked about the first layer. We talked about good, the good leaders. So, and we know that leadership and layers, as I said on last week, is something that we hear every day. And we want to make sure that we take some time to set apart what is a good leader, what are great leaders, and what are exceptional leaders. What are some of the qualities that these leaders have? What are some of the characteristics, the qualities and traits that they carry, so that we can have an understanding of all three? As I go through this, I want you to really think about where you are as a leader, and I want you to drop that in the chat if something resonates with you. And we will kind of review what last week was and what we talked about, some of the characteristics. We'll give that a quick review, but you can also catch that in replay. You can go to our YouTube channel, or you can catch it on LinkedIn or on Facebook. But all of our episodes from episode 1 up to episode 168, this one is on the YouTube channel under the Jackman Group LLC. So you can make sure that you can check that out. Go back to episode 1, and if you want to have a good laugh, that would be fantastic. But let's review. So last week we started with the good leader. What were some of the traits or characteristics of a good leader? So we talked about good leaders are those we consider as effective communicators. We also said good leaders demonstrate good decision-making skills. They demonstrate good active listening skills. We also said that good leaders are empathetic. They demonstrate a level of integrity and honesty, which shows that they're committed to doing the right thing. And lastly, we talked about good leaders where they exhibit humility. They make a commitment to having a positive impact on their respective fields and society as a whole. And lastly, we said that good leaders have the capacity to adapt to change. So that's what good leaders, in terms of the characteristics we discussed on last week. What I want to do now is take a look at great leaders, or second layer of leadership, and see what great leaders exhibit. What are some of the characteristics? What are some of the traits and qualities of great leaders? So we're going to make the transition from good leaders to great leaders, from good to great. So as we break it down, as I told you on last week, I'm going to take my time in and go through these, but I want you to buckle up, because not only am I going to make that change from good to great, but I want you to be part of the program. If you're watching live, I want you to be part of it, and tell us where you see yourself as a leader, or where you saw others. Have you come across any great leaders? Not just good, but great. Have you come across them? And what are some of the things outside of what I'll say? What are some of the traits and characteristics that those great leaders that you encounter, or those leaders that you work with, or you yourself? What are some of the traits and characteristics or qualities that great leaders have? See, what happened is great leaders, one of the things that makes them great is that they have the ability to manage and lead effectively. But it also gives them the capacity to inspire, because they're such a great leader. It gives them the capacity to inspire and transform teams and organizations. That's some of the things that, when one leader moves from good to great, that's some of the things that they bring along with them: the capacity to inspire others, to move them from where they are to where they want to be. So note, I'm not saying that a good leader can't do that. What I'm saying is that these are characteristics that I've seen in not only good but great leaders. Right? They have the capacity to do some of these things. So let's take a deep dive as we move forward from good to great, because great leaders, they have what I like to say, they possess a unique set of characteristics and qualities that really distinguish them from the good leader. So what are some of the traits and characteristics? Number one, so in addition to some of the characteristics that they bring from a good leader, so we talked about a good leader being an effective communicator. Great leaders now are just not effective, they're exceptional when it comes to communication, when it comes to communicating with others. They're not only effective, but they're exceptional. They're great storytellers. Oh, I wish to be, one of my desires was is to be a great storyteller. I know some individuals that are exceptional when it comes to telling stories. They can, as they tell a story, they have you walking with them as they're telling that story. You're with them. You are in that story, and they're great at it. Oh wow! I would love to be. That is one of my desires, is to become a great storyteller. So being exceptional in their communication, they can take complex ideas and make it into very simplistic. They can take it from the complexity of it and make it very simplistic in a way that is easily understood by the masses. And that's one of the things that makes them such a great leader. The second characteristic or trait that I would say great leaders have is that they're visionaries. They have a clear and compelling vision for the future. They're not looking right now, they're looking down the road. They're not looking back, they're looking down the road. They have a vision for where they want to go, a vision for the future, a vision for their teams, a vision for their organization. They're always looking down the road. And not only are they great visionaries, but they're able to articulate that vision to others, to their teams and their organization. So that's what makes them great. They have the vision, but because they're exceptional communicators, they're able to articulate that vision to their teams and to others and within the organization. They also have the ability to inspire others to share in and execute on that vision. So it's one thing to have a vision, it's one thing to tell the vision, right? To share the vision, to be able to articulate the vision. But there's another thing where you can have the ability to inspire others to share in that vision and execute on that vision. And that's what great leaders do. That's one of the things that makes them great, that separates them from good to great, is the ability to inspire, is their ability to help others move towards their goal or the vision that they've set forth. Another characteristic or quality that great leaders have is that they're extremely passionate about their mission and goals. Note I said extremely passionate. Big difference between just passionate, right? They're extremely passionate about their mission and goals. And this passion can be very contagious. And as they show their passion, extreme passion, others want to know, hey, how do I get that? So this passion, extreme passion, can be contagious, and which inspires and energizes others because others see it and they want to be part of it. They want to have it. They want to have something that the others have that they may not have. So their team members or others around them are inspired and energized to action. That's what great leaders do. So that's number 3. Number 4, great leaders show courage. They're not timid. They're willing to take risk, and they're bold in their actions, bold in their decisions. Even in the face of uncertainty, or they are willing to move forward. So adversity and uncertainty, that don't matter. Those two don't matter to great leaders. They show courage in moving forward. They have to, right? They have to. That's what makes them great. So they also demonstrate courage in standing up to what they believe in, what they believe is right. They show courage in standing up to that. If they see something that is not right, what great leaders do is that they show courage and stand up for it. Even when others are not standing up, they stand up for what is right. And that is the difference between a good leader and a great leader. Another attribute or quality, I should say, that great leaders demonstrate is that they encourage and foster innovation. So they're not standing for the status quo. They foster, encourage others to innovate, to think differently, to think outside of the box, whether within their teams or within their organization. They're open to new ideas and encourage creative thinking. So they're not the ones to stand still and says, let's move forward the way it was. No, these great leaders are open. Not only are they open to new ideas, but they take action. They encourage others to think differently, to think outside of the box, to think, how can we make things happen in a different way? So status quo really doesn't mean much to a great leader because they're looking for something different. And they surround themselves with creative thinking and new ideas. Another aspect or quality or trait that great leaders have is that they empower. So it goes back to encouraging creative thinking and fostering innovation. This one, empowerment, goes hand in hand with that, because great leaders empower their team members, giving them the autonomy and responsibility to take action. Part of empowerment deals with trust. So they trust their team. So before empowerment comes trust. So they trust their team members. They trust their team to make decisions and to take ownership of their work. That's the foundation. When we look at empowerment, the foundation of it is trust. Before you can empower, you have to trust. You have to believe, right, that this team member can get the job done. So great leaders trust their team members, trust their teams to make decisions and take ownership of it. So trust and empowerment. So they empower individuals to move forward, knowing that the individuals are not going to may not work like them, because we're all different. We're all different beings, right? We have different skill sets. We come with different mindsets. We see things through a different lens. And that's a good thing. So as long as they can trust you and they empower you. I had a great discussion yesterday in our second session with our cohort. I told you last week that we are endeavoring on a 10-week cohort with the city of Rochester, and yesterday was our second week, and we were talking about this same topic of trust and empowerment, and how do we trust people or leaders, and how do we empower them, knowing that we can get the job done, right? Someone once says, if you want a job done, if you want something done, do it yourself. But that's small thinking. That's not long-term thinking. That's not scaling. Because if you do it yourself, you're limiting the scope of what you can do, but also the scope of your team. So we have to get out of that mindset and trust others, trust our teams, knowing that they may not do it like us. And we're thankful for that, because they're not like us. But as long as they get the job done, we trust them that they're going to get the job done. So if we give them a task or a mission, we trust them. We know of their abilities. We know of their capacity. We know what they can do. So we're trusting them and we're empowering them to get it done, to get the job done. And it's okay if they don't do it like us. It's okay. As long as the job is done, does it make a difference if they do it like how we would do it? No, it does not. It does not, as long as the job is done. So great leaders empower their team members, giving them autonomy and responsibility, but also holding them accountable. That's the key there, holding them accountable. Great leaders are also flexible and adaptable. They're capable of navigating and leading through change. They're what we call change agents. They're able to adjust their strategies as needed. They're able to pivot. And boy, have we had a pivot over the last 3 years because of COVID. All of us had to pivot. All of us had to adjust. All of us had to be flexible. All of us had to be adaptable. But great leaders do this better than others. They're not opposed to changing and pivoting and adapting different strategy or adjusting their strategies as needed. So great leaders are able to adjust your strategies without losing sight of the vision. So they have the vision out here. So if there's a strategy that needs to be adjusted or pivot, they're able to do that. They're able to adapt to it. And that's what great leaders do. That's what makes them so great, right? That's what moved them from the good leader to the great leader. So where are you? Are you a good leader? Are you a great leader? Tell us, what are some of the characteristics that you have? as a great leader. The next trait or characteristic or quality, I should say, that great leaders have or exhibit is that they're strategic in their approach. They're strategic in their thinking. They see things from a big picture. They're not small thinking in their approach. They don't think small. They're looking at the big picture. They're developing long-term goals to it, or long-term plans, long-term strategies as to how to accomplish these goals. So they see things from a global perspective. They see things big. They're not small thinkers. And now they're developing their plans, their strategies, their action steps as to how to achieve these goals. Say great leaders, they possess a global mindset, understanding that we are interconnected within this world. And the impact of their actions go beyond their immediate environment. It goes beyond their immediate place. So they're always thinking globally. They're always thinking big. How can I move forward? How can I achieve these goals? How can I improve? How can I get better? How can my company get better? How can my team get better? How can my organization get better? So they possess what I call a global mindset, and they're very strategic in their approach in moving forward with this mindset. They're what we call not fixed, but they are what we call what? They are what we call growth. They have a growth mindset. They're not set in terms of, well, this is where I am. I'll end up here. I'm not going to get any better. No, they're thinking growth. So not only are they strategic thinkers and they're thinking from a global mindset, they're understanding that we need each other. That we need each other, not just here or not just where you live, but across the world. COVID caused that, right? That's one of the outcomes, not caused it, but that's one of the great outcomes of COVID, is that it gives us an opportunity to not just focus on our small space, but realizing that we live in a global, interconnected world. And we now have the tools that we can get there. So I have viewers and listeners from all over the world. We engage others, not just here in Rochester or in New York State, but we have viewers and listeners and clients across the world. Because we're thinking strategically, we're thinking from a global perspective, not from a small perspective. Great leaders are also focused on results. They're focused on achieving results. They have a proven track record of success in things that they do. Not only do they have a proven track record of success, but they also have experienced some failures. Failures are not new to great leaders. They see failures as not something that is them, but they see failures as an opportunity. They see failures as a way as to how to move forward. What's next? So great leaders are focused on results, and they have a track record of success in things that they do. But keep in mind, as much as great leaders have succeeded, they've also demonstrated failures. But they understand that failures is not about them. I told you, as the great Zig Ziglar said, failure is an event. It's not a person. We're all going to experience some level of failures as we move forward. But look at it as an opportunity, not as a stumbling block. Lastly, as we wrap up today's episode 168, Great leaders, as I said, maintain a growth mindset. They are committed to their own continuous learning and self improvement. Recognizing as leaders that leadership is a journey, it's not a destination. I was speaking with someone on today, and we were talking about leadership. We're talking about goals. We're talking about moving forward and accomplishing some of the things that they want to accomplish. And one of the things that I mentioned was, let's not focus on a destination. Let's focus on your journey. Realizing that in the journey comes growth. We only grow when we step out of our comfort zone, and stepping out of our comfort zone, going towards something, is part of the journey. So as we move forward in our journey, great leaders understand that. They're committed to their continuous growth, personally and professionally. And you know what I've said. And your quest for success, for moving forward in your journey, and your quest for ongoing growth, learning, and self-improvement, personally and professionally. You know what I've told you about this, right? You need both training, teaching, and you need a coach. So, folks, these are the traits as what I consider moving from a good leader to a great leader. I like what Kelvin Wynn says here. Great leaders seek to mentor and be mentored. Kelvin, I love that. Welcome to the 30. Great leaders seek to be mentor and to be mentored. I'll even add to that. Great leaders seek to coach and to be coached. Because I'm a huge proponent of having a coach, not just a mentor, but a coach, right? I'm a huge proponent of that, because not only do I mentor and coach, but I also have a coach. Coaches to take me from where I am to where I desire to be. So as we end, I challenge you, folks. I challenge you to move from where you are to where you should be, to where God has designed you to be. Don't stay where you are. Don't be stagnant in your growth. That's not where you belong. That's not where God has designed you to be. Think big. Go from the good leader to a great leader. Go from the great leader to an exceptional leader. So next week, we're going to take on some of the attributes and some of the qualities of exceptional leaders. What does it look like? So as we end, I invite you to be part of our movement. Join me as we move forward in helping leaders to become not just good leaders, but great leaders and exceptional leaders. That's our goal, to take leaders from where they are, help them, assist them, train them, coach them. So our mission is as we focus on our personal and professional and even spiritual, because that's where I am, is to upskill. I challenge you to upskill your leadership competencies. Take it from one level, go to the next level. So if that's your desire, I invite you to be part of our journey, to be part of our mission. At a Jackman Group, we work with leaders and we help them to enhance their leadership skills through our leadership training. And we work with those that may already have the skill, may already be skill leaders, but want to take their leadership to the next level. And we work with them not just on the training side, but also on the coaching side. So I'll be happy to partner with you and your team as on the training side, but also on the coaching side. So if that's where you want to go, I invite you to get a hold of us. So we offer not only leadership training, we also offer group coaching, and we also offer one-on-one coaching programs. One of the other things that we offer in terms of our resources, we also offer team enhancement, helping you to develop your teams to be more effective and productive teams. Whether it's a sales team, whether it's a leadership team, whether it's a ministry team, get a hold of us. Get a hold of me. I welcome that. So drop me a line. You can find me at info@jackmangroup.llc.com. That's info@jackmangroup.llc.com. So folks, that's it for now. I want to thank you for joining me on this journey. And as we leave, my prayer is that God will bless you and continue to keep you and your family safe. Until then, we're out. Peace.